Greetings everybody, today we have the most hated Mercedes E-Class. In this review we will do only W212 pre-facelift version. The facelift version I will do in few days. Mercedes spent $2 billion on developing it, and another $1 billion on the facelift. And in the first 3 years, Mercedes sold 500,000 units of W212, and those numbers came right after the 2008 financial crisis. It had many good qualities, but it looked like a corporate car for Ultron. Something that Ultron would give to the top sales executive. Today I will try to explain what is great about this vehicle and what is not so good. Also I will demonstrate all the problems and how to avoid them before buying the car. Concept car of W212 looked magnificent. It looked aggressive, beautiful, futuristic and modern, but the real car was horrible. Front light and whole front looked dumb and stupid. Mercedes tried to make it aggressive, but unfortunately something went very wrong in the design room of Mercedes. Also, the front design is not the main problem of W212. This unpleasant front not only looked toxic, but it had many issues. Front headlight got foggy out of nowhere in just a few months of owning car. LED lights got burned and you couldn't just change the light bulb, dealers just changed all the light, and that was very expensive and annoying. And today it has the same problem, so be careful with that. Also, the first generation cars had problems with the front plastic, so anything that was made from plastic in the front bumper could crack in the unknown circumstance. Also, the front chrome would peel out if you look funny at the car, and that's very annoying and disappointing when you buy a brand new Mercedes for $50,000. LED at the tail lights also could burn at any time, and I think if you're pay attention to W212 taillights, you can see some of them have the burned LED lights inside of the taillight, and that's very annoying. And dealers offer the same thing, change the whole light, not the one light bulb, and that's it. Or the LED light, how they call it, I don't know. Reliability of microchips was also not good. Slight humidity would mess up all the electrical system, and you need to restore those microchips so the car would work better and the lights would work better. And electrical problems came out of nowhere. Because of drainage in the car system would sometimes clog and the water can come out, and the water would go right into the electrical components and mess up everything. Engine start button, the heater, the motor of the heater, parking sensors, blind sensors, and it can die at any time. So really you must pay attention to the drainage system all the time. Another very disappointing thing was the interior. It felt more Japanese than German. After magnificent interior of W211, W212 felt cheap, and at best it felt like well, fully equipped Lexus, and that's it. Nothing special about it, no German luxury, no more. Materials on dashboard were made from recycled toilet paper. They felt funny and smelled funny, and not many things were good about it. Also, some say that the dashboard could crack if you leave the car on the sun for too long. This is the time when the Mercedes decided to change to the eco leather or the fake leather. That fake leather was not really good. So after 70,000 kilometers it got very thin, all foggy and rubbed out and not nice to look at or sit in. But seats were comfortable. All buttons felt cheap. The design of the interior dashboard and where is everything felt messy and not nice. You didn't feel like you were in a very expensive palace like you felt in W211. You felt like you were sitting in a sales manager's office that got recently promoted. Warmth and soul of interior was gone. You didn't have no more feeling that you won't just sit in the car for 5-10 minutes after you came home and enjoy the interior like you did in W124, W210 or W211. Also, there were some really bad engines. For example, the 4-cylinder engine. The engine chain was reliable. It could last up to 100,000 kilometers if you drove car adequately. But the cooling pipe could crack anytime because it was made of cheap plastics, and those pipes couldn't bear heat a lot. So you must keep an eye on your cooling all the time. Engines from 2013, the M274, were even a little bit less reliable than the previous one. So the engine chain would last not up to 200,000 kilometers but 200,000 kilometers. Also, those engines could suffer from oil hunger, even problems with valves, and all that because of heating, bad fuel, if you drove it aggressively. I do not recommend buying W212 with 4 cylinders at all. V6 engines are a little bit more reliable, and some say that M276 engines is the most reliable engine that Mercedes ever made, and I totally disagree with that. This engine needs always very good fuel, regular oil change, regular cooling cleaning, and then it will last up to 200,000 kilometers. And don't forget, you need to drive it adequately. V8 needs the same love and attention, and it will consume fuel like your ex-girlfriend that couldn't force you to marry her. Also, the engine will last up to 200,000 kilometers. All transmissions will last up to 200,000 kilometers without any problems. But if you change oil in them every 60-70,000 kilometers, then you have chance that transmission will serve you up to 400,000 kilometers. Suspension in W212 became classic McPherson, not the usual Mercedes design suspension. So car got a little bit harder, but the steering got more sharper. Every 100,000 kilometers you need change all the engine mounts under the car. And some of the engine mounts are not the conventionally made from rubber and the metal. Some of the engine mounts are oil based. Air suspension is much more reliable than in W211. And I'm very happy for that. I have no idea why I'm happy, it's just, it's a good fact that finally Mercedes has reliable air suspension. Anybody who owns E-Class loves air suspension in their car. By now I think you got a feeling that I'm very prejudiced against W212. But even I cannot ignore those wonderful facts about W212. One of the biggest advantages over the W211 was the handling. W212 was 30 kilograms heavier than W211, but it felt 500 kilograms lighter in everything. If we take W211 E350 and W212 E350, the W212 E350 gave much better performance. Also, more sharper driving experience than W211. Every corner in W212 gave precision driving vibes. It was sharper than W211, felt much lighter in acceleration and braking and cornering. For such huge car, it was pleasant to drive, and you felt the ultimate balance of the weight. And finally, the weight distribution was perfect. While you're driving the car, your brain is constantly telling you that this car is heavy, and somehow it's fooling you. Your body and soul believes in that magic of W212, but your brain is very suspicious. But you do enjoy the handling. This car is like a professional prostitute. It makes you fall in love with her and makes you believe that she loves you back as well. Same thing with this car. It hides all the disadvantages so good that you never even have a hint about them. Another huge bonus is the reliability. Even with all electrical problems, in general W212 is a reliable car, and it's much more reliable than W211 and has less issues. Aerodynamically, car is perfect. It is more sleeker than Corvette C7 and even Ferrari 458. Also, it has many modern features: speed limit assist, lane keep assist, adaptive headlights, adaptive cruise control, and many other crash preventing systems. W212 was developed in many hard weather conditions, and Mercedes tested W212 the same way they tested W124, W210 and W211, so I can say that the car is reliable if it was loved and taken care of. If you want to buy W212 today, I would recommend only buying V8s or V6, and only with full service history and after inspection of certified Mercedes mechanic or mechanic that has experience with the Mercedes. Pre-facelift version are much more expensive than the facelift versions, and if you want to save money, I understand why you're looking at W212 pre-facelift versions, but personally I would buy only facelift version, and in a few videos I will tell why. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what do you think about W212 and what kind of experience you have with the E-Class. Please subscribe to my channel. Take care and bye bye.